yeah, there was that 8-year gap in which, really, besides the New Adventures and Batman Beyond stuff, there was no Batman movies, no Batman merchandise. I think the only thing besides the cartoons had to be those OnStar Batman commercials. And that was kind of a pretty crazy period because it's like, I can't wait till the next Batman. When's Batman coming out? Because you had X-Men, Blade, you had Men in Black, Spider-Man, all these different movies coming out. And besides those, I forgot about the Birds of Prey series. I never got to see that all the way through. It was very short-lived on the WB. And Batman was pretty much dead. I mean, it wasn't like Spider-Man after Spider-Man 3. And there's still games merchandise, like there was nothing Batman-oriented after Batman and Robin. Like, he was dead, and nobody knew who Batman was really as much. Not like they do now. And that was a long 8 years, and before I realized I wanted to be a movie director, but part of it was making a good Batman reboot. And I no longer have to do that thanks to Christopher Nolan, who saved the Batman franchise and brought life to it again. Which I'm glad, because there's no way I'm going to try to make a Batman movie after those. That'd be really hard to top. I'll wait till it gets screwed up again and then do it. You could do it, maybe like Tim Burton and Batman Arkham's, like Batman Christopher Nolan series mixed with Arkham Asylum, Arkham City feel. But I was going to have it more like with the origin, like Mask of the Phantasm into a film and then onward. And I was thinking they should have ended this with this one. I'm glad they ended it, but I would have had different trilogies. Have like Bruce Wayne's younger years, and then Dick Grayson's story origin, and the next trilogy would be Robin turned to Nightwing with like Batgirl on there, and then after that would be older Bruce Wayne, and like afterwards, and then onto the Batman Beyond era. I'd probably do different trilogies like that if there was like a series that was ongoing. It'd be pretty cool. But it wasn't until 2005 when Batman Begins came out that they finally got it right. I know it's easy to blame Joel Schumacher, yeah, and it's just like Christopher Nolan brought us the Dark Knight trilogy, but I have to thank Joel Schumacher for going through and doing what he did with Batman and Robin. Even though it wasn't as good as Batman Forever, it was still kind of getting towards that childness, but he did his job. He had to have a toy etiquette film, supposedly, and do what the studio wanted to do, and I thank him for that, because if he didn't do that on Batman and Robin, and it didn't turn out to be such a box office flop and critical failure, I don't think we would have gotten the Dark Knight trilogy by Christopher Nolan. I really don't. No, Batman really had to be buried in order to rise again. And Batman Begins is just awesome. I remember it was going to come out June 17th. It ended up being moved 2 days earlier to come out June 15th of 2005. But I remember most of all seeing the photos, and this one is called Batman the Intimidation Game. And that was a fake title, Intimidation Game. It was like, whoa. I knew they were having Scarecrow. There's like, ooh, Ra's al Ghul. And I was just like, Intimidation Game. That's kind of an interesting title, but it's before his Batman Begins. Because I didn't know it was going to be a prequel. I thought it was going to be like a sequel, Scarecrow. And they switched his suit to black. They had it like with a gray on some of the fan pics. She didn't look bad, but it was kind of interesting because there's a lot of actors I didn't really... You don't normally see in a Batman movie, but it was just like the supporting actors or major actors, and Batman, I didn't know really who Christian Bale was. I wasn't old enough to see American Psycho yet. And I didn't see Equilibrium, so... And this is before I found out who he was. I actually did see Empire of the Sun, and I remember him as a kid, but I didn't know that was Batman until after I saw it. I was like, oh my god, that's Batman? I knew that kid was going to be Batman one day. But besides that, I remember first seeing the trailer. I wasn't expecting it on Ocean's 12, and I got freaked out when I saw it. I'm like, ooh, what's this movie? And it was like a ninja-type movie. And then you see the boards open, and it's the bat cowl, and then it shows the bat emblem, and I'm like, whoa. And then it ends with the trailer saying, where are you? It's just like, right here. And there's like, after that, I remember seeing it on the Super Bowl that year. The trailer had it like the train and the music and the Batmobile, and it says, does it come in black? That type of thing. I remember seeing it opening day, and I forget what the song was. I remember it on Batman and Robin, but I think it was Feeling Better Now by Collective Soul, which is kind of cool. It's kind of a summer song that feels good, but it's just an overall good year that year. And it was right after I saw Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, so I was waiting for it. And it was my brother-in-law, and my oldest nephew, my youngest nephew. He was really, really little. As a matter of fact, at the beginning of the movie, like, he was so little at the beginning, he was just like, we're at the wrong movie. I was like, no, we're not. And she's like, yeah, we are. Batman's not in here. It's because Batman wasn't in there till like an hour and a half into the movie, but I liked it. It was Bruce Wayne's story. And it had the origin. It started from the very beginning. Shows parents get shot. Had Joe Chill. Not the Joker kill his parents. You had Mr. Zsasz in there. And it was just really, really freaking good. in the Batmobile. Wow. And before that, I remember seeing the HBO First Look where I'm like, ooh, that's awesome. But like that movie, I mean, that was like the Batman movie I was waiting for. Like that was like probably the best I felt. It's almost like I would probably say you. I don't mean to be comparisons. Might as well. It's on every comic movie. Just think of like the first, like the Avengers or Iron Man or even what else, Spider-Man. Where it's like, oh my gosh, they finally have him on there, and it's just like awesome. And you can say, oh, the other ones though weren't perfect or missed something. Well, so did Batman Begins, but it did it in a way where it didn't damage the story. I mean, sure, it didn't have the Lazarus Pit, and it was a little bit different, but it was still Batman and pretty much close to the source material. And he was dark. He was the Dark Knight, not really like the Caped Crusader. And that was just a great movie all around. My favorite parts, well, one twist, the twist at the end was pretty crazy with Ra's al Ghul being Henry Deckard and Liam Neeson. I freaked out at first because I saw a younger guy. I'm like, oh my god, did you just use a Lazarus Pit? He's like, no, and there's like cheap parlor tricks. And I was like, ah, that's pretty cool. And then I liked it with the Scarecrow poisoning the water. That was like a nod to the animated series episode there. James Gordon and the family. I mean, Gary Oldman looked exactly like Commissioner Gordon. I was just like, damn, it even sounded like him. I mean, you could like, it's almost like he read the comics and watched the cartoons. It is like he's Commissioner Gordon. And Batman, wow. I mean, that first time he was there. My only biggest complaint about Batman Begins, and it's not a major one, it's probably before he filmed some action stuff, but some of the action is just a little shaky and kind of like, it happens really fast where you can't really see it as great. It's better on a smaller screen than it was in the theater, though. But they really improved on the action in the second and third a lot. My favorite part is just like the guy's just like there, he's like, what the hell are you? And then he's like, psh! He's just like, I'm Batman. Then he's just like, boom. And then just like, nice coat. And then I love the part where it's just like, you could die out there, just tell me who you are, Rachel Dawes, and she's like, it's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. And then it like goes off, it's like, Bruce? That was really cool. And then the whole, why do we fall, Master Bruce? So we could learn to pick ourselves up. Does it come in black? And then I got to give me one of those with the car. And that car chase, the Batmobile one, my favorite one was the one from the Tim Burton, but that one beat it. And then Dark Knight beat that one. That was just an overall great film. And then the ending with the Joker card, I could not wait for the sequel. I was actually in anticipation for the Dark Knight, that moment that happened in 2005. So I'm like, ooh, who they're going to get to play the Joker, and then how they're going to have him in this universe. And I liked it too, because it reminded me so much of the end of Batman Year One, the graphic novel. And I was just like, wow. I just had a great feeling. Like, I was like, Batman's back again. I got like the action figures. There's finally merchandise. And I liked it. There's one thing that they did with Dark Knight Rises that I didn't like, is that the first two movies, they had a cloth cape with the action figures. And the rubber ones aren't bad, it's just that they stay still. The other ones look pretty cool, like more like the suit. And that was just a good movie. And then that was like a really lackluster summer too, so it was pretty much that and Star Wars I saw in a row. The only other trailers I remember seeing on that was Stealth, Serenity, and some other stuff, I forgot. That was just a great movie though. And then Didn't You Get the Memo? And then I remember everybody was laughing when they had a drunken billionaire burns down home. And I liked it too at the party, it was like, to all your phonies, to all you sycophantic suck-ups who smile through your teeth at me, please leave. Get out, the party's over. That was just awesome, because I know it's kind of rude to them, but like if you look at Batman Forever, even the older Batman movies, they're like, oh, Bruce Wayne, and they're like, it's like all glamorous, and they're all there with him, it's like a whole bunch of rich people, and it's like a party, and this is just like... It's almost just like, okay, a screw you to the other series type of thing when he said that to the people at his party. I kind of liked it because it's like, wow, I kind of wish, you always like notice that in the movies, but like Bruce Wayne actually said what they basically told him the truth, basically, about what they are. That's kind of funny. And that was just a really great year. I think I saw that about 7 times. I tied it with Dark Knight Rises. That was the most movie I saw. Me and my nephew, we went to go see it, like, endlessly. That was just a great movie. And then I remember October, I got it. My mom got it at a Circuit City. Or was it Best Buy? It had like the lenticular cover with a comic book that had like The Man Who Fell, Long Halloween. It had like the different comics it was based off on. And that was just a good DVD. I mean, that was just a good year for Batman. And then I remember they released the Batman Anthology that year. But I only got the Tim Burton Batman on DVD. I had the others on VHS, but I wanted to get them separately, but I couldn't find them. And then when I did, they were like $30, really expensive. So I ended up selling that DVD, and then I got the anthology later. And sadly, it's before they went down in price, so I got it for like $100 when I saved it for it. It's like when Blu-rays just first came out, and it wasn't very mainstream yet. It still isn't really mainstream. I mean, there's DVDs still. I would actually buy more DVDs. It's just that they're so high, and the Blu-ray's cheaper in some places where it just might as well just get the Blu-ray for a cheaper price. And that was just a fantastic movie. I was just like, I had a smile on my face, and I was like, that was the greatest Batman movie ever. I mean, that was just better than all the other Batman movies. It was really hard watching the other ones. And I could still watch the '89 Batman until The Dark Knight. And I wasn't sure about Heath Ledger as Joker. I was actually one of those who was just like, I'm not sure. Because I wasn't sure, I didn't know how the version of the Joker was going to be. I was thinking it was going to be like the Mark Hamill or Jack Nicholson type, you know? And I thought it was going to be like with the Bleached. Like, I didn't think they were going to go the direction they went. I was imagining like traditional Joker. And I remember of '07. Supposedly it was on the Simpsons trailer and stuff, but this is actually the first time I went to YouTube. YouTube actually had the Dark Knight teaser trailer. Or the bat emblem, and this is like, people will die tonight. I'm a man of my word. And then the Joker card breaks through the bat emblem like this. Is the light. And that was awesome, but really, what got me pumped up, and I kept up with it on Batman on Film and stuff, what got me pumped up. Oh, and the Batpod actually had a theory that it was going to come out of the Batmobile, and they're like, no, it's not. And I'm like, whoa, it looks like the Batmobile wheel, the tumbler wheel. And it did. So there you go. It wasn't until December of 2007 I was going to go see I Am Legend. And I knew they were showing the prologue in the IMAX, but they didn't say anything about a trailer. So before the movie starts, you just see that opening trailer with a Batpod going. And then you hear the Joker saying, you change things. Forever. There's no going back. To them, you're a freak. Like me. It shows him saying, it's like, and it's just like the music, and that was just an awesome trailer. I was like, oh my god, I didn't know there's going to be a Batman trailer. It looks so awesome. And that last part was a nod to the '89, where it's just like, come on, hit me. And then it's just like, and it's like, and then he like turns over, and he's like, let's put a smile on that face. And then it's like, he starts laughing frantically, and it's The Dark Knight. And I like literally forgot what movie I went to go see when I was there. I was just like, wow. I forgot that I was going to see I Am Legend there. I was just like, I want to see that movie now. I'm like, I just saw the Dark Knight trailer, and I wasn't expecting it, and what the hell did I go here to see? Like, I think it was kind of bad, because I liked I Am Legend, but it really kind of hurted me, because I was just like, after seeing that awesome trailer, I would have just paid to see that trailer over and over. And then there was like bootleg versions of it filmed, but it really wasn't until the next Monday, and I had finals that it was on Yahoo. Just an awesome movie. I was like, he's going to be an awesome Joker. And when they said, let's put that a smile on that face and the laugh, I was just like, holy crap, this is going to be awesome. And I was pretty much talking about that during the winter break. And then I remember on January 22nd of 2008, it was one of those weird instances where, I don't know, when something like that happens and a famous person passes away or something drastic, unexpectedly happens, you seem to remember the place and where you were and everything during that time. And I just couldn't believe it. I heard on the news that Heath Ledger passed away. And I was just like, hell no, he's a Joker. And I'm like, that can't be true. Because it was a local news. And I was like, I don't believe that. I didn't see it anywhere else at first, because it was before it like really broke. And then I was like, the one site that really confirmed if this is a hoax or true is Batman on Film. And I went on there, and it was crazy. It turned out to be true, and that just kind of devastated me. Even before the movie, because I was just like, that really kind of stopped them from having like the Joker reappear in future movies. And it's weird because I was talking about it that day before at school about how awesome it's going to be. And I just wanted to hear interviews of like his process of basically becoming the Joker. And I was kind of out of it for a while. And it's weird too, because I remember watching his other movies later. I didn't really appreciate him as an actor. I was just like, it's mostly the mainstream movies, but then I saw some of his other movies, like The Order, Sin Eater, Candy. Candy was really good. It's weird. I saw some of his other movies, but it's weird. It's one of those actors where he was in The Patriot, but I don't know. I didn't warm up to him as much as like some of the younger people of my generation did. Until really Brothers Grimm with him and Matt Damon. That was just like, oh wow. That's where I really kind of grew with him as an actor. But I think it's because when he started taking other parts that weren't so called mainstream, like for the teen or young adult audience. But this here would have definitely broken that mold. I mean, he could have just had any part he wanted after this. Devastated, and there really wasn't any movie previews until May of '08 on Iron Man 1. There was a Dark Knight trailer 3 on there. That was just awesome. And then after that, boom. Full-time promotion. There is a toy. The toys sold out, and I actually went to Walmart. And this is when the Movie Masters were $11. I remember. And this is worth $300 now. Kidding me? The Dark Knight Joker Movie Masters. One of them for display, the other one as a collector's. Had that, came with the card. And this is wave 1 because it doesn't have the little air holes on them. It has just this. It has the Joker. And these to collect. So it was definitely wave 1 of those. Here's my junior year of high school, so I went after school. Crazy period at that time, but then that suburb, there's a line of TV spots, a Comcast trailer, the Domino's Gotham City Pizza, which I have actually. Right here next to my truck, my collection of CDs, Gotham City Pizza box. Now, I know that's a long time to have a pizza box lying around, but it's that awesome, and I wish they did it for Dark Knight Rises, but unfortunately, Domino's did not. It was pretty good though, it included a 50% more pepperoni, and that was a really awesome trailer too. He's like, does it depress you to know just how alone you really are? And you thought he was talking to Batman in the interrogation room, not Harvey Dent, like in the movie. But that summer seemed to go by slow as hell. It was forever until July 18th, and forever. So then the night before, it was like really packed. I probably would have gone to a midnight feature, and I wasn't in Austin, I was in South Texas at that time. Bob Bullock had a midnight party with costume. I would have totally went there. But it was the first movie I saw in IMAX, and I was aware that they filmed scenes in IMAX, and I thought that was really cool for a major motion picture to do that. That's something I actually want to do. And if it's not done by the time I get to directing, I wouldn't mind making a movie fully, entirely in IMAX, like a major motion picture movie entirely in IMAX, because I love the format. Especially how it comes out on Blu-ray. Just imagine like the whole movie like that. A lot of people complain, it's like, oh, it goes to IMAX to widescreen. Keep it in widescreen. I'm like, no, if there's like one thing that should stay the same is that they should just have it in square box the entire time. Like, it's an awesome format. It's almost like what full screen used to be on the older TVs. It just filled up the entire screen. I know you weren't getting the full picture there, but still, it was pretty cool, you know what I mean? I went to 19th of July at movie. Damn. That movie, it was kind of queasy. We're at the robbery scene of the IMAX, and I was just like, oh, maybe I made a mistake. And then by the time I got to the chase scene, I was like, yeah, it's like you experienced in the movie. It's like you were inside the movie, and that movie just blew me away. To the point where I didn't even know what to feel at the end of it, when it's just like, he's a silent guardian, a watchful protector, the Dark Knight, and it's like, end. I didn't even know what to think. I actually sat through the entire credits. But the part that got to me the most with the whole Heath Ledger thing is where he's just like, I have a feeling you and I will be doing this forever. And just like, you'll be in a bed cell forever. Maybe we can share one. These city's inhabitants are losing their minds. And then he goes on and it's just like, Babbitt's just like, what did you do? I took Gotham's White Knight and I brought him down to our level. You see, it wasn't hard. Madness, as you know, is like gravity. All it takes is a little push. And he just starts laughing frantically, and that whole ending was just powerful. I wasn't expecting that with Two-Face. And then Rachel. And I wasn't sure what to think about Maggie Gyllenhaal replacing Katie Holmes. But I tell you what, Katie Holmes could not have pulled off that explosion scene the way Maggie Gyllenhaal did. I think if she was in it still, I think I would have been like clapping that Rachel Dawes got blown up. But with Maggie Gyllenhaal, I actually felt kind of sad that the character got killed off. I mean, it was that much of a difference in the acting from Batman Begins to Dark Knight. But I was just like, wow, it was a powerhouse, that movie. So much that I actually watched it numerous times, couldn't count. Except in theaters. I only saw it 3 times. Once in the IMAX, once in a regular theater, a couple of days after, because I still wanted to see it, and my air conditioner went out, and it was a really hot summer here over in Texas. I was like, I need to get out and see that movie again. And it's before I could drive a car, too, so it's not like I could drive over there like I did for Dark Knight Rises. And then the other time was like during Christmas break. I went to visit my sister where I was from, because we were at my home location. We were away. And I saw it at the Discount Theater, and it was pretty good. I liked it. I finally saw it with my nephews, except my youngest one was actually old enough to remember the action parts. Oh no, he was clapping when the truck went off. Then my oldest nephew was just like, wow, because me and him really like Batman Begins, because he's kind of like, he's 6 years younger than me, so even though I'm his uncle, he's kind of more like a little brother to me. And I grew up with the animated series, with like some of the New Adventures and then Superman, and then going on to Batman Beyond, but I didn't like it as much at the time. And he started with like the New Adventures and Batman Beyond, so he kind of caught the tail end of my childhood. So we're kind of like two sides of the same. He's like, I'm the beginning of the 90s and he's the end of the 90s. But he's kind of more into the millennium with like Naruto stuff, but I was kind of like a little bit before Dragon Ball Z, so that type of thing, you know? It's almost like Mr. Show with Empire Strikes Back and Star Wars. It was just like the generation of 1 year later. But I remember that DVD coming out December 9th of 08. I went to go get the 2-disc one, and it had special features, and it pissed me off that they did not have as many special features as I thought it would, as they promoted it to be. Or even, what is it? The Blu-ray. Because I didn't have a PlayStation 3 yet. It was just like, I didn't have Blu-ray. I had DVD, so I got the 2-disc one, and I kind of felt bad. It's got it at Best Buy, and I was like, I should have got it at Walmart with the regular, but I wanted to have the 2-disc one and have special features like Batman Begins. But other than that, the DVD quality was superb. The only thing, the Blu-ray is clear a bit, but it's a little bit darker in some tones. The only difference is that on the Blu-ray you get the IMAX format. And that does make a difference, it really does. After that, I was just like watching Dark Knight, I'm just like, wow. Christopher Nolan I was just like happy with that movie. That was just perfect. I'm like, if he wanted to, he could just end the series here and not even do 3. I wouldn't even hold it against him for not doing a 3rd. I was just like, wow. And that was probably like the best superhero film. It would probably beat the best sequel. That beat Spider-Man 2, and I actually like Spider-Man 2. It was like the best superhero sequel. But Dark Knight, holy shit. That movie was just wow. And it's weird because it was better, and yet I like Batman Begins a little bit more because it's Bruce Wayne, even though this one featured the Joker than the way Gotham felt in the first. But it's like one of those where, even with all 3 now, I like all of them for different reasons. And you can see why one's better than the other, but then you can see... It's just weird. It's one of those that's just like, it's really good all around. And what I like about it the most is that Christopher Nolan's not just like a one-trick pony, you know? He doesn't make the same movie again. It's like a totally different film. Even though it's a continuation, it's like, each film's different, and I like that. You don't feel, it doesn't feel stale. You feel kind of refreshed watching them, because it's like you're watching 3 different movies, even though it's like a trilogy. And I like that movie a lot. And then Lego Batman came out. And that tied me over until Batman Arkham Asylum, and that's why I got a PS3. And then that game got, as you know, Batman fans, got like postponed 500 times, and now I like about 5 or 6 times, but that game got postponed a hell of a lot. I was just like, I was worried about when Arkham City came out, and like, I hope it's not postponed like Arkham Asylum was, because I was waiting to play that game for like a year. And that was awesome. So awesome that I had a film class at my community college, and we had to summarize a film of our choosing. And like different tropes and stuff. And I asked if to write The Dark Knight, and my professor asked me, yes, if you can write good about it. I'm like, yeah, I totally can. I'm a Batman fan. That's exactly what I told him. He's like, I'm a Batman fan. I'm going to give you the paper. Here's like word limits, and I asked, is there a limit? And he's like, no, just write as many pages as you want. And I was like, you sure? You sure you want to read it? And I ended up writing like a 100-page report. 100-page review of The Dark Knight, and he said it was like one of the best papers he's ever read, and it really furthered the class, so I was just like, wow. So it tells you how special Batman is to me as a person, and that's kind of affected my life, but really as a filmmaker, that's where I was just like, wow, I think I really want to get into this profession after going through that. I mean, critics are critics, but I wouldn't mind making films. That's what I want to do, and act and edit. But maybe I should do all of it. I was actually thinking of making a Batman documentary just about Batman fans, different experiences the character has brought over the whole world, and even bringing some of the actors and stuff to be interviewed. And after that, it was okay. And then I saw Inception, and I was just like, holy crap, that was awesome, from Christopher Nolan. That movie, that guy just like steps it up a notch in every movie. Same thing with Prestige before Dark Knight, but after I saw Inception, I was like, I want to see what this guy does with the third Batman, because I wasn't sure if he was going to come back or not, and then they said he's coming back to do Dark Knight Rises. And I wasn't sure of the title at first, but that was going to be like Shadow the Bat or something, or Dark Knight Returns might have been a good title, but I think they didn't want to use it because in case they make a movie of that later. But it was good. And then there's Anne Hathaway as Catwoman, and then Tom Hardy as Bane, which is like, ooh, I don't know how this is going to work. But I didn't question it this time, because I saw what happened with Heath Ledger as a Joker, so I was like, okay, I'm going to trust Nolan. Nolan we trust, you know? So, I believe in Christopher Nolan. Those god-awful campaign commercials, I believe in Harvey Dent. Nice-looking Harv. But really, no, but, and then, The Dark Knight Rises is a really great film. Now, it may not have been as strong or as tight of a film as Dark Knight, I feel, but as I went over my review, I think it was a great film, and in a way it was as good as Batman Begins is feeling as, like, it may not have been as great of a film, like, overall, as Dark Knight, but it was better as a Batman film, if that makes any sense. And there's just so many moments that I already went through in my review. But once we got to mention was a scene with Alfred and Batman, Christian Bale, and then Bane, which is an awesome villain. I forgot to mention Christian Bale throughout the series has been my favorite Batman. I know there's Michael Keaton, and then Val Kilmer kind of brought a complexity to it, but I think Christian Bale on live action film is the definitive Batman, even with the voice, to what Kevin Conner was in the animated series. And all the voice work. There's many favorite parts. It's just like, you think you're the only one who could learn how to escape the pit. Did I ever escape? The child of Ra's al Ghul made the climb. But he's not the child of Ra's al Ghul. I am. And it's just like, what? Miranda? Why? Kind of like Keanu Reeves type of voice, but yeah, just like out of the voice. That was like a crazy moment, and I knew it was going to be Talia. And I have another video mentioning Dark Knight Rises as a whole, so I'm not going to get too much into detail there. But I just love it, and my favorite shot, there's a shot with the blown up building where Rachel died and him over the flames, but my favorite shot of the entire trilogy still has to be when Bane kicked at Batman, and he like climbs up the steps and then goes back, and the snow falls perfectly. I love that, and then Anne Hathaway's Catwoman was great. Bane just has some crazy lines, just like, speak of the devil, and he shall appear. And then it's just like, oh, you think darkness is your ally. You merely adopted the dark. I was born in it, molded by it. I didn't see the light until I was already a man. By then, it was nothing to me but blind. And then he, like, gets Batman. And then he's just like, oh, theatricality and deception. Powerful agents for the uninitiated. But we initiated, aren't we, Bruce? Members of the League of Shadows. And then she's like, so what's the next step of your master plan? That's my favorite part of the beginning, too. The CIA is like, what's the next step of your master plan? It's like, crashing this plane with no survivors. And there's the soundtrack by Hans Zimmer. And I liked it with James Newton Howard in the first one, but like that third one, Dark Knight Rises, has had the best score out of all three films. It's just awesome. That was another thing it expanded on. Even though I love Danny Elfman's theme, still Hans Zimmer in that third one was just like, wow, that was awesome. And then they're like, Desi Basara, Rise. And then I liked the ending, and then with John Blake, and I figured out a scene how Batman may have survived. Some were saying he may have ejected outside, but I don't think so. I think he actually had two vehicles, two bats, and I think he had two bats, and one of them, when he shot the building, I think the bat on autopilot went out, and that's what everybody saw. You thought Batman was there, but I noticed with the shot, Batman, the only thing was shown was cities, buildings, and that could have been anywhere. It could have been behind there next to him, and then the shot doesn't show him, but the next shot that shows just Batman's face. And that could be him leaving, and then it blows up. And you notice the bomb isn't hanging off. It's like inside this compartment thing. Either it's a mess up or it went into the bat. When it's ticking down to 0, it's in this compartment thing. It's not hanging outside. And then it blows up. I think he created a diversion for that. These are just really great films, and I am satisfied now as a Batman fan. And it really kind of taught me a lot about film. As in, you could have a basically just have a great story. You could have a big blockbuster movie, but what Christopher Nolan did is he had this big canvas, a big, grand, epic film, and all his films are big budget, but not really big budget. It brings a certain independent feel to a big budget. You can pretty much have a big blockbuster movie and have it still be intelligent. I mean, not like Transformers where you're just like, it's really juvenile and just kind of dumb. I mean, you feel kind of dumbed down. And I know sometimes it's for kids, but like really, sometimes kids now are just like. I mean, the audience. Some movies treat the audience as if they're not savvy or smart or intelligent. And I like Christopher Nolan because he makes films that the audience likes, and if you challenge the audience or go up to their level of their expectations, it makes it a much more fulfilling movie. And he really raised the bar, and I wouldn't even say greatest comic book trilogy. It's better than a comic book trilogy. It's a great trilogy all around, a great film series, and that's very far compared to where he's been. But I guess that's the thing about the character, and it teaches about life is his ups and downs. It's not doesn't matter how you fall, but it's almost the trilogy lesson of why do we fall? So we can learn to pick ourselves up. And in reality as well, it kind of shows what you can be like in the real world. I mean, you can't, I mean, not like Batman going out beating criminals to a pulp, but like with all this evil and everything around, you just have to endure it and have hope. And then show examples, be a symbol for others. That type of thing. It shows what happens. You become a symbol, something elemental, something terrifying. It shows us what we can become if we make ourselves more than just a man, or even a woman. And that is a legend.